Welcome to Memorial Cooking Innovations. I'm Tim Scallon, registered dietitian, and we are on location at the organic farm Good Roots Garden near Rusk, Texas. Last time we met Larry and Jerry Berry, who own and operate Good Roots Garden. We saw firsthand how organic farming is done and some of the challenges associated with organic farming. We learned that berries are nutrient powerhouses, and Jerry prepared this wonderful French sorrel salad with a blackberry balsamic vinaigrette. We also introduced the farm to table model, which is concerned with producing food locally and delivering that food to local consumers. Today, let's continue our adventure at the Berry Farm. Okay, so I just had a thought. Jerry, you're a registered dietitian, right? Is it really true that you can take the dietitian out of the farm, but you can't take the farm out of the dietitian?
Well, I don't know about that, but I don't know, when you were in school, did you learn anything about agriculture in nutrition school?
No, now I had the benefit of growing up on a farm,
Right.
but most dietitians don't have
Well,
that.
I didn't learn anything about growing vegetables.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that was missing, and that's
Yes.
one of the reasons why I really wanted to start farming.
Yes.
Was I just didn't know how food was grown. And I think that people in farmers don't really know very much about nutrition either. It'd be
Yes.
good if we all kind of learned some of the same things.
Well, and not only that, how produce is grown, where it comes from, but how to prepare it.
Right,
You
exactly.
know, in our training, we got one class on food preparation, is that right? A food lab. But we didn't really, like the chefs do, you know, they learn a lot about actual preparing of the fruit.
And that's what we need to be teaching people.
Yes.
So it is something that we really need more of. But
It's a basic skill.
Right.
Yeah.
So let me show you the wild blackberries. They're over here.
All right, great.
Okay. Well, this is one of our wild blackberry patches. They grow all over our land.
And they're everywhere.
They are. There's some big ones this year. We've had a lot of
Yeah.
rain.
Yeah.
But they usually ripen in May.
Okay.
And you have to keep coming out and checking, because you never know exactly when they're going to be ready. And the deer will get them quickly if you don't pick them.
Got to stay ahead of those deer.
Right. So here's a bowl.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm going to start picking
picking.
right here.
And the wild blackberries are a little bit different than the domesticated blackberries. They're a little bit more tart. They're smaller. So when you use them in a recipe, if you want to make it sweet, you have to add a little bit more sweetener than you would if you use just a regular strawberry or blackberry.
And you're saying sweetener. Now, as a dietitian, you know I'm going to ask what you mean by that.
Well, there's different sweeteners, as in sugar or honey,
Okay.
molasses,
Okay.
maple syrup,
Okay.
just whatever sweetener you prefer.
Because, you know, one of the things that I find myself teaching as I'm doing nutrition counseling is that a lot of people today have gotten their palates so used to the concentrated sweet of whether it's sugar or even artificial sweeteners.
Right.
It's like they're setting up a feedback loop, a craving for more concentrated sweets.
Agree, yes. People are used to those sugary soft drinks and
Yeah.
things. And the good thing about cutting back on those and eating something natural is you taste
Yes.
so many different flavors in there besides the sweet.
Yes.
So, and it's just, it's real diverse flavors. It's real interesting, and it makes a better meal overall.
Well, and our palates change as we change. You know, as we get away from eating these concentrated sweets, our palate gets to where it likes the less sweet of fruit, or like you said, molasses, or, you know, a touch of honey.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so much better for your health to
Yeah.
not have very many added sweeteners.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to keep picking here.
Okay, well, it's going to take you about half an hour, so we'll come back and get you later.
Okay. You know, Jerry, one of the things that I find as a dietitian is that many people skip breakfast. And that's unfortunate.
It really is. You really need to eat something first thing in the morning to fuel your body so you'll have energy for the rest of the day.
It's like it's how our bodies run. If we go longer than 4 hours, we start getting hypoglycemic,
sluggish and tired.
We feel bad, and we become too hungry, and then we overeat at the next meal.
Right, right.
You know, one of the observations I've made as a dietitian in counseling patients is that the people who crowd all of their calories into 1 or 2 meals almost always end up overweight.
Wow, that's really interesting.
And so that should tell us something, that our bodies are not meant to work that way.
Right.
We need to eat small, frequent meals. Well, what do you say we show people how to make a simple breakfast that would be a good balanced breakfast?
Perfect. And I
Okay.
like simple because, people who don't know how to cook are sometimes afraid of getting in the kitchen, and really anybody can learn how to cook.
Yes.
And just putting together, starting with really healthy ingredients is the key.
And actually today, what I want to make for us is I want to make Kathy's granola.
Okay.
I have to tell you the story about this recipe.
Okay.
Okay, recipes are more fun if they have a story. Well, this recipe is called Kathy's granola because this recipe actually came from Aunt Sybil, who, by the way, was raised in Austin.
Oh, okay.
Raised her family in Austin. And Kathy Griffin is a genuine granola girl. Now, you know what I mean.
Like a hippie chick.
She is. Kathy Griffin is a hippie chick. She's this beautiful lady, and she's
I
a
like her
granola
already.
girl. You and she would love each other. Well, so Kathy took Aunt Sybil's granola recipe and adapted it, and so I'm making for you all Kathy's granola.
It's got to be good.
Okay, well let's get started. Now, do you have this oven on 350
Yes,
already?
I do.
Okay. Well, we start by with 5 cups of oats. So I'm going to pour us out 5 cups of oats here.
Okay. And those are just rolled oats, regular rolled oats?
These are those good rolled oats that we all grew up with.
Okay.
And there's no extra ingredients. It's just rolled oats.
No instant, or it's just...
Nothing
Yeah,
instant.
nothing.
It's just all rolled oats. And I'm going to kind of spread these out so that they're a nice even layer.
Okay.
And basically all we want to do is just kind of parch them a little bit, maybe for 7 or 10 minutes. So I'm going to
Okay.
stick these in the oven.
All right.
Okay, so while that's toasting, we're going to put together our vanilla. We've measured a teaspoon of vanilla here. Our cooking oil. This is good extra virgin olive oil. Now you could use, if you have light olive oil and extra virgin olive oil, now we know those are both the same calories. That light doesn't mean lower calories, but it's less olive flavor.
Less processed.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
is the extra virgin.
Yes, because it's just one
One press.
That's right. But that also means more flavor. Okay. And so we're going to mix these wet ingredients together. And if you wanted to not have the olive flavor in your granola, now I don't object to that, and neither does Granola Girl Kathy. But if you wanted that, you could use the extra light.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And so I'm just going to kind of blend these together: oil, honey, and vanilla. That vanilla is a Mexican vanilla. Doesn't it smell good?
It does smell good.
And I bet our oats are just about ready. We'll just let them parch just for a little longer. Okay, so we've got the oats out of the oven and in our mixing bowl. And by the way, I have to point out, Jerry, that this mixing bowl, have you ever seen one like this before?
I'm not sure.
This mixing bowl was from my mother, and in the 60s, this was a line of bowls that came in primary colors. And this is the best mixing bowl. It's good for making bread in, like kneading, getting the dough ready and even kneading it in the bowl, or it's good, it makes a great salad bowl.
I like it's wide and not too tall.
And it's heavy. Yeah. All right, so anyway, we're going to sprinkle the cinnamon on these toasted oats. Okay. And really all you're doing here, I'm going to use this, is just kind of distributing the cinnamon in the oats. And then we're going to take this mixture of oil and vanilla and honey. And notice how I'm kind of spreading that out, just and then the goal here is just to get everything evenly distributed. Okay, put that right there. So let's get these mixed together. This is smelling good, isn't it? You can kind
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, you can kind of smell those roasted oats. Huh? Okay. Now, there are a number of variant ingredients you could add to this. For example, nuts would go good in this. Almonds. Raisins would go good in this. Some people put a little, in fact, I think I even wrote that into the recipe, wheat germ. You ever eat wheat germ?
Not very often. Flaxseed would go in there.
Flaxseed meal goes very
Flaxseed
good
meal.
in here. Yes, sure does. Okay. All right, now these go right back on this pan. Just kind of hold that pan for me if you want. And they're going to go back in the oven, 350. Okay. Notice how I got every last grain of oats out of there? That's my mother coming out in me. You know, they were raised in the Depression. You don't waste anything.
Right, exactly.
You're going to get
Clean
that
your
right
plate.
there. That's it.
Clean
That's
the
it.
spoon.
Yep, that's right. Okay, now we're ready to go back in the oven.
Okay.
Eating clean is a current food plan designed to promote healthy living. Put simply, eating clean is the practice of avoiding processed and refined foods and basing your diet on whole foods. It means eating more of the foods we know are good for us, like fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, grass-fed and range-fed meats, and less of the stuff we know is harmful, such as salt, sugar, fried foods, sweets. When we read on the nutrition label ingredients that we don't recognize, like high fructose corn syrup, maltodextrins, guar gum, we are choosing a food that is several steps away from its fresh state. All processed foods are not bad. Olive oil is processed from olives. Milk is pasteurized. Raisins are dried. But many foods come in a package with added stuff and key nutrients removed from the original food. For example, instant oatmeal in an individual packet has sugar, salt, artificial color, dried berry pieces, and a little bit of oat dust. Well, look at the ingredients of the traditional oatmeal that we all grew up with. When you look at the ingredients, there's one ingredient, rolled oats. So this is a good choice. This is an eating clean choice. Eating clean is just applying some common sense to our food choices. For example, an apple is a better choice than a Pop-Tart. A salad of fresh greens is better than a side of fries. And the good news is this: these choices come with more flavor because of their freshness. Remember shortening? These days it's called trans fat, and it clogs our arteries worse than bacon fat. You find hydrogenated oils, another name for trans fat, in a wide range of processed foods, from cookies to microwave popcorn. Well, eating clean means baking fresh cookies, oatmeal chocolate chip cookies, and popping popcorn in an air popper, or maybe the way our grandparents would have popped corn. Just go light on the salt there. Now, another rule for eating clean is to eat 5 or 6 small meals a day. Now, this is important. This is more consistent with how our bodies were meant to run. We never get too hungry, which helps us to avoid overeating. So those exaggerated servings, we can shrink those back down to a normal serving size. Eating clean is choosing more of the foods that we know are good for us and less of the stuff we know is harmful. How do we start this healthy eating plan? Well, we start with the next meal. Now, you may not be ready to totally give up French fries, and I'm totally okay with that. I love French fries too. But just start making some common sense choices more often. You'll find that the more consistently you eat clean, the less you crave sweets and fries and French fries. You know, Jerry, it's starting to smell like that granola's ready.
Smells really good.
Okay, well, let's get it out then.
Okay.
Ooh, oh, I love it. I wish you could smell this.
Yum.
Okay, all right. So we're going to spoon some of this granola up, and You know, as dietitians, we would say this is not just a cereal, it is a cereal, but it falls in the food group of starches, right?
And it's a whole grain.
And it's a whole grain, which is a good starch. You know, a lot of people tend to want starches to be very, they tend to think starches are bad. But we, as dietitians, know, well, there's better starch choices, huh?
Very different.
And this is certainly a good starch. All right, so if we were going to make this a balanced breakfast, and this is something quick and easy I can do before I go to work, how do I make it balanced? We've got a starch.
An easy thing would be to add some berries.
Okay, all right, let's add berries.
Yeah, we love berries.
Yeah, I like berries. Do you like berries?
Oh, we love berries at the berry household.
Gary likes berries. My mother-in-law Jerry likes berries.
Who doesn't like berries?
I can't think of anybody who doesn't like berries.
There we go.
Okay, so we've got berries. So we've got a starch and a fruit. All right. The more food groups we add to a meal, the more balanced it becomes. And the reason why a balanced meal is healthy, I know you know this, but the reason why is because all of these foods go into our stomach, they get all mixed together, and there are different enzymes that digest different types of food, right?
Yes.
And so this mix takes longer to digest because the different enzymes have to work in and around the things that they don't digest. That means that a balanced meal has greater satiety, or in other words, it keeps me full longer.
Right.
And that means that a good balanced breakfast will carry me to lunch or mid-morning, and I won't be too hungry and then overeat again.
And it'll slow down your digestion.
Yes.
So you'll absorb more nutrients
Yes.
and you'll be full longer.
Exactly. Very good. Okay, so we've got two food groups. What's another food group to add to this?
Well, I like yogurt. I would add some yogurt
A
to
dairy.
that.
That's right. Okay, so let's see.
got
You've got
some
yogurt
yogurt.
here. Okay, and this is organic Bulgarian yogurt.
Of
Okay,
course.
well let's get some of that out.
Okay.
That's beautiful.
This is
Okay.
actually, it's a little bit thinner. It's pourable.
Yeah. Well, you
Very
know, in this part of the world, most people would say, let's put milk on this, and that's perfectly okay. When you get outside of the United States, for example, in Western Europe, a lot of people, their choice for this would be yogurt.
Yogurt, yes.
Okay, so we've got three food groups. Are we well balanced?
We are, but we could add some nuts, and that would help with protein.
There you go. So nuts as a protein. So nuts really could count as a meat. You know, here in East Texas, people think if I'm going to eat breakfast, I have to have bacon and eggs.
Right. You don't have to have meat with every meal to get a good source of protein.
No, this is a perfectly balanced meal, and this is going to get me through to my next meal. And the concept of eating clean includes the notion of eating small, frequent feedings. And you know, that's just how our body is meant to run.
Yeah. And then you get to snack. You know, several times during the day, and it helps you with your energy level.
Yeah, and as long as those snacks aren't Doritos,
Right.
you know, like if I'm eating like maybe a handful of nuts or maybe put a small apple with it, or
Or a little sandwich. Or
there you
something.
go, half a sandwich, yeah. And so if I'm eating more frequently, it helps me to manage those serving sizes back down to a more reasonable amount.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Jerry, I want to thank you and Larry for having us into your kitchen and for all the things we've learned.
Well, we had fun. Thank you
Yeah.
for coming. Come back anytime.
Okay, that sounds good. The topics we have covered on these last two shows are all related to healthy living: organic foods, farm to table, eating clean, balanced meals, and of course, the foods we've prepared demonstrate that eating healthy can be both interesting and flavorful.
So Tim, how did you say we've changed the world?
One bite at a time. Memorial Cooking Innovations is made possible through the generous efforts of Brookshire Brothers, a celebration of family and community. CHI St. Luke's Memorial, the Polk Education Center, Sodexo Food Service, and the City of Lufkin KLTX Channel 15.